Here we go. So our plan today is finish up Project 3 in Word, where you will do the things that will make your documents the most professional ever for your company. People will want you to do their documents, or you to teach them how to do their documents, or they'll just say, hey, you must be really smart because you know how to make things look really nice. And it's not that hard to do. All you have to do is learn the Microsoft Word menus that provide that help for you. So let's get going here on your Word document. Start up Word and find the Project 3, WD3. Here we go. Here's how far we've gotten so far with that. We have our table that we ended with last time. I'll zoom in a little bit here. And we realize that there is a missing item in our table. We need to also mention another day or another activity. And so in order to bring in a extra field or extra row in our table, we just have to do a little bit of modifying here. We are adding to that table that there is a welcome week happening 16th to the 20th. Now, once you're in the table, remember, once you're in a table, these tabs show up, Table Design and Layout. If I'm not in the table, you don't have those tabs. Click on the table. I could go to Layout, and I have Insert, Above, Below, Left to Right, or I could right-click on a row, and I see I have an Insert, little guy showing up there, and I can choose Insert Above or Below, Left or Right. We want to insert a row above the last line. And whenever you insert a row, it remembers the format from the row that you were at when you did the insert. So I can start typing now, August 16 to 20th. And notice how it is bolded just like the other row. Tab over, and I'm going to make that Welcome Week. And get scheduled during orientation. Right-clicking anywhere gives me those choices. I can split cells. Lots of things I can do with cells. There's the insert, left, right, up or down. And I also could do that from the layout ribbon. Now the layout ribbon gives me lots of other choices for my cell. I can do padding around each cell. I can distribute rows and columns. Lots of things to make my table look beautiful. One thing we would like to do is italicize the last column. And the easy way to italicize cells is I just click on a cell in that table, and as soon as I start dragging out of that cell, it'll select the entire cell. If I'm inside the cell and drag, it'll start selecting the characters. But as soon as I drag to another cell, it's automatically selecting them. So I click on Notes, drag all the way to the bottom, and I want to italicize that with either Control-I or the italicized quick menu, and now that last column has been italicized. I can do the same thing for rows. If I want an effect on a particular row, just drag through and then shade the row or something. So there's our table, nicely formatted. And now we're going to finish up the cover page. So but we're going to have a little bulleted list here. So we're going to start our bulleted list with its introduction before orientation. You must do the following through our campus website. And what's following is going to be a bulleted list. I could always type the text and then make it bulleted, but let's start the bulleted right now by clicking Bullets, and now start entering our bullet items, which are complete a housing contract, or housing exemption form. It remembers I've started a bulleted list, schedule your math placement exam, and for the best colleges, you schedule your Bible exam. reserve your orientation dates. If I'm done with the bulleted list, remember, you just hit enter twice, and it takes that as, yes, I'm done with the bulleted list. Now we're ready to have a final line encouraging them in their coming to the college. So I'm putting a blank line there. Remember, I'm still on the no spacing. It still sees my tab there at 3.5 that I started way back before. Haven't been using tabs, but it remembers paragraph forwarding. For every paragraph forward, it remembers the tabs that were in the previous paragraph. And we're going to put, I am confident you will pursue your passions and accomplish your goals as a sunset flying eagle. There's our letter. Now we want a nice professional signature at the bottom. Professional documents have as a signature typically a farewell, such as tab in to 3.5 inch, sincerely. Comma. And we make room for them to actually have their signature, so I hit 3 blank lines, and then I tab to 3.5 inches again, and put the name of the person expected to sign this. Song, so not Strong. Song is their name, and typically the title after their name. Director of Admissions. In case you don't have that tab there, like you could have actually removed it, you can always put it there by just clicking on your ruler. If I don't want the tab, remember, I can click and drag that tab away, and the tab is gone. If I want to adjust the tab, I can always drag that left and right, and it will adjust it just for that paragraph. If I want to adjust the tab for multiple paragraphs, I can select through multiple lines, and when I adjust the tab, it adjusts that for all 3 lines. So if you don't have the tab there, you can easily put it in there by selecting the lines and clicking on the ruler. If I want to take it away for all 3, it's gone for all 3. Control Z brings it back. And one more thing before we leave tabs is here under paragraph, there is a special, remember that special extra dialog to get to your advanced paragraph settings. In your advanced paragraph settings, there is a tabs menu right here that will pop up the ability for you to insert tabs at any position. You can type in the position in inches. You can adjust what type of tab each one is. And you can adjust whether a tab has leader dots or dashes before the tab. You can turn on leaders. For example, I could turn on leaders for this line, and I click OK, and I see that has a dotted line leader for those tabs. So if you ever asked, such as something like a midterm, to put dotted leaders in a tab, that is where you're going to have to go, because normally you have no leaders for tabs. So that's a handy thing if you're using tabs. You don't have to put the dotted leaders in. I just want to show you that is your advanced control of all your tabs. Before we leave tabs behind, know that you can get to that underneath that paragraph settings. The little known tiny little menu for tabs. Okay, now we want a new page, because we're going to have that chart that we mentioned, see schedule on next page. Now to get a new page, we don't hit enter 1,000 times, we insert a page break. I like inserting the page break on a separate line just because when I'm looking for the page breaks, I can see them nicely when in formatting. But I'm going to do insert, page break there. Remember, if you want other types of breaks, layout gives you more choices for breaks. So there's my page break. And now I'm popped to a new page. I see my header and footer are there. I don't need to put anything in them. If I don't need to see that, I can double click here to hide that white space. But since I do want to see the layout, I can bring my white space. I actually clicked in the header. I can bring my white space back. Now it's not letting me out of my header. Come on, let me out. Oh, close header and footer. I thought it would let me out if I typed. Oh, maybe if there, finally let me out. Now I'm on the second page, and I want to insert now just a little information that's going to go on this second page before we bring in the graphics. We're going to insert a title here. It's going to be a bordered paragraph, nice title. But we're going to do a custom title. So let's first type the text, and then we'll make it into a lovely title. Orientation and registration. Enter student schedule. And we're going to make that our title to this page. So let's select through both those lines. Let's increase the font size. We'll center it. Increase the font size, Control Shift greater than. And I see that anything larger than 36 is going to wrap. So I'm going to make it as large as possible. 36 point. But that's not good enough. We want to have that match the color scheme of the previous page. So we would like the colors of this title to be, let's make it bold too. Let's make it bold. And let's choose the color of the font to be orange, second from the bottom. Orange accent to 25% darker. Lovely title, but we're not done yet. We're going to make it even fancier by putting a paragraph border, just to practice our borders. Remember how we get to paragraph borders. The special little arrowy thingy right there next to the borders. And go all the way to the bottom, borders and shading. I could choose borders and it puts them in, but I want to have control over it because I'm going to adjust the color of that border rather than a boring single point black line. Borders and shading lets me control it, putting in a dashed line with that color orange of the font, and make it a little wider. Let's make it 3 points wide. I won't see the effect of it down here, but I do see a thumbnail attempt at a preview. And I click OK, I will finally see the effect on my paragraph. Oh, isn't that lovely? Lovely title. And I already had a blank line after it, but let's just pretend I didn't have that extra line after it. And I want to start a new line after this. I hit enter, and as you might expect, the border is wanting to follow me. I don't want the border to follow me. I need to clear formatting on this new paragraph and let the border snap back to the previous paragraph. Now I am ready to continue. Let's set this guy to be no spacing style. Put in a few blank lines, and then we will have an intro and then get on to our graphics. So we selected this, centered it, enlarged it, bold, color, and border. Remember, paragraph borders. Okay, now a little bit of text before our graphics. Just to introduce the cool graphics. We're going to add the line, we look forward, and let's see, we want a blank line after that. We look forward. I'll zoom in a little for you here. To meeting you. Below, you will find a general schedule for the 2 days you will be on campus for orientation and registration. One more paragraph about the schedule that we're going to be giving them during orientation. Comma, we will walk around campus, so please dress accordingly. Now comes the time to have a schedule. We could do a schedule in a table like before, which would look decent, but we want to get some practice at doing cool graphics. Before we do that, though, we would like to underline a few things here. We want to emphasize 2 days. So select through 2 days, and instead of the regular underline, we don't have an underline option here with the extra options. We want to go to the underline here that gives us this extra little arrow next to it, and we're going to choose an underline style of dashed, dot dash, and also come back to it again and choose an underline color of that same dark orange as above. So underline, choose style of underline, and come back to it and choose color of underline. I don't have a there's more underlines. What else do I have here? Can I adjust? I can adjust my underline style. Oh, lots of underline styles I could apply here. Now I want the same underline style on another set of words. I think I want it under, is it dress accordingly? Yeah, we want to underline also dress accordingly. But I've already used this style here. I would like that same style I just did. Now I could remember I did the underline dash, underline color, or use the less well-known Format Painter. This little paintbrush, there's a lot of people that don't have a clue what this paintbrush is. You are going to learn what that paintbrush is right now. Think of this as the paint. I want this format to be painted somewhere else. To do that, I select that, can be all of it or just part of it, and I choose turn on the Format Painter, take the format that I'm right in right now, think of that as I'm dipping the brush in that paint, and now I'm painting that format on this word here. And that word now gets the same format that I chose there. So I can paint the format from somewhere else. And just for fun, suppose I wanted that format, I could turn on my painter, go paint somewhere else, and I have the huge word because I painted that format. The nice thing about this is you come across a document with nice formatting, you don't have to know how they did it. You can just say, oh, I like that format, select paint, and now apply that format to your text. So you don't have to go figure out, well, what color was that? What size was that font? No, just paint that format to somewhere else. Little known paintbrush, now you are a painting expert. Now it's time for our graphics. Little blank line after that. And we're going to bring in some graphics for basically giving us nicely visual representation of some information. Your eyes just pick it up better. You remember it better if it has attractive graphics. I like to call it eye candy, just to make your eyes a little happier. Well, we want to bring in some graphics, and that will be, guess what? The insert page, the insert tab. We're going to be bringing in Smart Art. And I'm going to come over here and choose my Smart Art. And the Smart Art I'm going to choose is in a category called a list category. There's lots of other categories, and as you select the list, you can see suggested art for particular categories of information. Our information is going to be a list, so I'll naturally choose a list category. You can scroll down through lots of categories or lots of types of graphics for lists. The one that they would like us to choose is this one right here, called a grouped list. I click that, and then I click OK, and it fills in a group list ready for me to type in all these placeholders. If I click on it, it becomes blank and lets me type there. That's what we call placeholders. The problem with this group list is I only want 2 columns, and they're giving me 3 columns. Let's get rid of 1 column. It's not that friendly to delete it. You'd think I could just tell it somewhere, 2 columns group list, but I have to come over here one at a time, delete these items in the list. Let's see if I delete that. Let's see if I click on the outer gray. If I delete that, does it delete the entire thing? No, it only deletes that. I don't want that. I want to delete this 3rd column. So I click on the shape, delete, click on the shape, delete, And then finally one last delete on that shape, and there, it's down to 3 columns, or down to 2, from 3 down to 2. Now I'm ready to use placeholders to fill in my graphics. Seems like, hey, this is ugly text. I don't need it that big. Well, it'll be auto-adjusting as we type in our text. All right, here we go. We're ready to put in text now. This is going to be day 1. And this is going to become a list of items that are going to happen on that day. We've cleaned up the 3rd column. Now we're ready to bring in our text that's going to go in each box. Okay, this one's going to be check-in. Check-in. Notice the font is auto-adjusting for us as I type. This one, welcome, and general. And watch what happens as I type a longer sentence here, info session. It is auto-adjusting all the fonts in my entire graphic. That's what makes it smart, because it's a bad thing to have mixed font size. So they are automatically adjusting the font size as I fill in the content of my smart art. Now we got a problem. I need more items in day 1. How do I add more items? Well, I could come up here, and so I see I have an add shape way up here. If I click add shape, it will add a shape after that. Okay, so we have that add shape up there on the Smart Art Design, and that's going to be lunch at 12 to 12:45. Now I could keep going up to the upper left, add shape, or I can right click add shape, and here it gives me this choice of add shape after or add shape before. So I'm going to do an add shape after, and now I have another box ready to fill in. And we can continue the items for day 1. And you will see the font auto adjusting as it needs. And services session. 1 o'clock to 1:45. Right click, add shape after each time. Meetings with advisors. (2 o'clock to 2:45). Enter does not bring a new shape, it just makes a new line, and see how everything shrinks because it's trying to auto fit. So we don't want extra lines there. We want to right click, add shape after. Department meetings. (3 to 3:45). And a few more things here. Busy first day. Right click, add shape after. It's going to be Expo, 4 o'clock to 4:15. Or sorry, to 5:15. That'd be a short expo, 15-minute expo. Oh, I forgot that parenthesis. Right click, add shape after. And we have dinner finally. 5:30 to 6:45. Now there's more shapes, add shape after. And we have evening activities. Oops, got my caps lock messed up. From 7 to 10. So there's our day 1, full of fun activities. And now I'm going to start day 2. In a minute I'm going to show you a better way to do this, but we'll start day 2 just like the others. And let's see, day 2 is going to be breakfast, 7 to 7:45. Breakfast, 7 to 7:45. And I could continue right-click, add shape, right-click, add shape. I'm getting tired of all this right-click, add shape. What if I just had a list of things I could just copy-paste into a list that's going to become these shapes? Well, yes, there is a way. Way over here on the left side, there's a little tiny arrowy thing that does mean something. If you click on this little arrowy guy on the left, that pops up the outline view, and I can grab that and enlarge it. I can actually type my text in here or copy paste it from an emailed list and simply type the items that are going to happen this day. So housing services session, I type that. Notice how it is now automatically filling that in while I fill that in. Housing services session from 8 o'clock to 8:30. And now watch what happens when I hit enter. It's treating that as a bulleted list. It adds a bullet and it adds a shape for me. So I could simply copy paste a bulleted list and it will automatically create all those shapes for me. And let me get my, now we're going, then so now I'm going to fill in the rest of this just using the outline view. I could still use the other view, but dining services, kind of hard to read though for you, session. You can see that it's showing up there, and I see I have a typo there. And that's from 8:35 to 9:05. Enter, automatically brings in a new shape, and I have a typo again. 8:35. 8:35. There we go. Health services session. Enter. Oh, I forgot the time. I can backspace back to it. And 9:10 to 9:45. See, some weird things happen if I hit another enter or backspace. See how it adds another column? So as I turn that into another list, it will automatically create that third column for me. So I'm not going to do that. Campus tour. From 10 to 11:45. Lunch, 12:45. And general education session. From 1 to 1:45. Register for classes. From 2 to 3:15. And welcome week overview. (3:30 to 4 o'clock). All these graphics being added as I add lines there. And I see a few typos. I can come over here, correct the typos, or correct them over here in outline view. If I'm done with outline view, I can close it with the little X there. I can always bring it back by clicking that little arrowy guy, expand the outline view if I'd like to use that. As I delete bulleted items, they will delete out of here. So now we have our graphics, and now let's see how it's going to fit on my page. I zoom out, and I see that I've got a lot more room on my page. I can simply grab a corner and adjust the shape of that graphic, and it will automatically adjust for me. and I see if I go too far down, it will jump to the next page. I don't want it to jump to another next page, so I don't go past my margin. But I can go left and right past even the page of my document. Don't know why I would ever want to do that, but I can stretch it past the left and right margins. So fill it how you like, almost to fill your page, to adjust your size. Now day 1 and day 2 seem to be obnoxiously large. I can adjust that myself if I like by manually adjusting my paragraphs. But let's leave that alone and let's adjust our colors for my SmartArt. Notice here in my SmartArt design, I can change my color scheme for that shape or that SmartArt that I'm in. Change colors. In the book, they would like us to choose the random colorful color scheme. I choose that, and it makes it a little less readable, but it is very exciting color-wise. Let's choose a style over here that keeps the color style, but maybe makes it a little more readable. I can choose a style here by clicking that more little arrowy thing, and look at, I can even do graphical style. And for today, I don't care how unreadable the text is. You're welcome to play with whatever text style you like, even if it's not very readable like this cool text version, 3D version. But remember, in reality, you want to make sure it's readable as well as attractive graphically. That one is sort of readable with the dark text, but it gets a little less readable. But lots of styles to choose from. I'm going to go ahead and pick a style and see then if I can make it a little more readable. Let's see here. That one with a, actually would prefer the dark text on the background. To me, that seems more readable. It looks like only one of them chooses the dark text. And of course, this will also depend on your printer. Remember, your printer may not render the colors or text as nicely as it looks on your screen. So if you want it to be readable, and you're going to be printing out 1,000 of these to send to your students, be sure to do a test print. And I'm going to choose that one because I think that's most readable. But you are welcome to choose any other scheme. Go crazy just to know that you have not only the colors but the actual style of it. And I can zoom out again to see what it's going to look like for my customer. And now I don't understand why I got this extra page. Oh, I must have had an extra line in there. Didn't realize I had an extra line of text. Now at this point we have a mailing ready to go out. I'm not sure if it's, I didn't notice, it did not seem to be checking for typos in here. Let me do a typo. I do not see any red squigglies. It feels like it's not catching typos. Let me do let's try a review and let's see if it'll catch. Oh, look at that. It won't do spelling and grammar inside of SmartArt. I hadn't noticed that before. So let's try spelling and grammar, see if it catches. I know I have that error right there. Let's see if it catches. Oh, don't want that. Spelling and grammar. Oh, that should be corrected. Fix that. Look at that. It does it. It completes. It does not do a spell check inside of SmartArt. So, little pointer there for you. If you're doing SmartArt, your spelling, you're on your own with spelling. So I'm going to go back and fix that. No red squigglies on your spelling errors. Let's see if would it even not catch it in outline view. Let's see here. If I come and misspell something here. No, it doesn't give me red squigglies. Okay, so we have our document ready to mail. Now there is a very nice feature for mailing in Word, but most people don't understand it and are confused by it and run away when you ever mention the word mail merge. But mail merge, if you learn mail merge, you can have a list of addresses to send to and automatically format form letters for them and envelopes printed for them. One time that I made a good use of it, still being used, we had templates for awards that were printed on certificates for little campers. All we have to have is the list of campers that get that award, feed it to my document using mail merge, and it prints out all the certificates. So wedding invitations, multiple mailings, mail merge is your friend. We're going to use this more simple envelopes feature. We're going to come over here to envelope. But before we go to envelopes, we want to select our mailing address, which is Mr. Caleb Thomas. With the mailing address, the destination mailing address selected, now I come over to envelopes, and it pops up a little dialog with that address, destination address, delivery address, already filled in for me. And I do see the Sunset State College address listed there. I can edit that if there's any typos in my Sunset State College address. I can correct that in case it got it wrong. It looks like it detected it from my heading. And I have a lovely document. Now, if I wanted to put something else here for the delivery address, I could add. Or if I want to change the font of my return address, I can go to Options and choose my delivery address font or my return address font. Let's just have some fun here with the return address font. Let's make that a little fancier. Oh. Choose whatever font you like. I kind of like the Blackadder. And click OK. OK. And now I will see the font for my return address. A little less readable to the mailman, but it gives a little spiffy look to my envelope. And instead of doing a print, we want to do add to document. If you would want to actually print your envelopes, check your printer. Some printers do not do well at feeding envelopes, so make sure it's a test envelope first. Don't use your fancy, expensive one. Try a test envelope. Times when I've done this and I've done a lot of mailings, I will actually cut a piece of paper to be the size of my envelope, because I end up doing about 10 test ones if I'm really being really fussy to make sure it's coming out right. Then I will finally do the print. For this project, instead of printing it out, we're going to add it to our document. And it adds it with that fancy little return address font. But let's zoom out a little bit and see what actually has happened here. When I add an envelope to my document, I can go to the Home tab, turn on formatting marks, and I see that it has actually created a section break. Section breaks are really nice. They allow this page to be a different size than everything else in my document. You can't do that with a normal page break. Section breaks allows this section to have a different size paper, like an envelope size. So that's how your envelope gets added to your document as a separate section. And if you wanted to print the envelope, you would basically do print and only print the first page. That would be your envelope. To print the rest of it on normal paper, you would print pages 2 to the end to actually have this printed out. So adding to the document allows me then to see that you know how to do envelopes. If I ever want to modify my envelope, I can always go back to Mailings, Envelopes, and it puts me back into my setting, and instead of Add to Document, you see Change Document is here. So you can always modify your envelope. I think you can even modify it here, editing that, but it's safer to add it through the Envelopes dialog. If you have an e-postage account, you can actually add electronic postage, but I think it will require you to sign into your e-postage account in order to get the correct information there. But you can actually do electronic postage. Pretty cool stuff. But I'm not going to add that. There we have it. With this, with an envelope added, your document nicely printed out, your first page with a signature. I can turn off formatting marks to get a good look at what I've produced. Your letter to your incoming students is now complete. Check for any spelling errors. Check that it's come out generally okay. You're welcome to put your name in the header footer if you like. And you can save that and upload it to the online course. And you're done. Word 3 is done. It's not officially due for a few days in case someone is behind. But there you have it. If you have this in, upload to Schoology. Word 3 is done for you, and you are ready to have a great day, rest of the day. I'll stop the recording and